My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Forward Progress. Today we have Mr. Chris Turner with us. Mr. Turner, tell the people, good morning first.
Good morning, man. I'm delighted. Thank you for having me.
Man, it's an honor. If you will share with people who you are and what you do.
My name is Chris Turner. I'm I guess, advocate for justice, social justice around the country. I'm affiliated with the Mid Atlantic Innocence Project, who represent people falsely accused of crimes they did not commit out of D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. Um, I'm involved with Healing Justice, restorative justice program out of North Carolina that was featured on 60 Minutes. I'm the chairperson on the board of directors for Free Minds Book Club. We send books to incarcerated prisoners all around the country from DC and other places. Uh, we we deal with returning citizens coming back into our community. A lot of our members from Free Minds Book Club, they have been gone for decades, away from their family, away from their friends, away from their loved ones. We do a weekly build up with them to help them their reentry back into society, to get them on that fast track to a pro-social lifestyle and making a change and getting the opportunity to do the things they have never had a chance to do as adults. Many of them left when they were teenagers. We do everything from teaching you what to say in interviews, how to tie, what to wear on the interview, and we share information with each other about job opportunities and places that are hiring and opportunity for these men and women to get their lives back on track.
Appreciate
Oh,
you. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. Also, we do the Mandela Project, which is a project that we actually go and pick up men and coming home from prison so that they can navigate their way back. Many of them left coming back to a neighbor city that they are not familiar with. So we try to navigate the waters back. Myself, I served 26 years in maximum security prisons around the country. Um, I was released from federal custody in 2010 and given a bus ticket from Modesto, California to make my way back to DC. I was given $50 in a bus ticket to get back. So you can imagine what that was for a person who was away from society for 26 years. So I had to do that. And so what we do is we try to take my experience and other people's experience, and we try to make other people's landing and transformation back into the free world a smooth, more transitional one than an uphill battle from the start.
Hmm. Appreciate you and all that y'all do. So
Thank you.
we'll get into what we're here for. It's called Forward Progress. So Forward Progress, yes, it shares a bit of the backstory before prison. It goes through your prison stint, and then it tells how your transformation and what made you become who you are.
Yes.
So to start off, share a little bit about who you were before you even got in trouble.
Before I was ever arrested, I was your average teenage kid. Had a bunch of ideas of what he wanted to do in life. Graduated from high school when I was 17. Never been arrested. Um, was active in the community with the tutorial program, which is an after school program where a lot of kids came at to get help with their math, English, whatever they type in, whatever their their weak subjects were. We used to kind of strengthen them. And so that was something that went on in our neighborhood. You could also play basketball there. You could do all these other things. But my criteria was that you don't get to play basketball unless you do the academic part of it. And so that's something I was doing as a teenager, not knowing the full benefit and all that. I just know that's how it was passed to me. And so I was just carrying on a legacy that was passed to me. And it turned out to shape and mold who I would ultimately become. I used to just do a lot of crazy stuff that all teenagers do. I used to get in a bunch of fights. I used to do the club scene, what we call the go-go. At the go-go era, we grew up with go-go, and so we had to catch a show. We had to go to the go-go. You know, you chasing women, you doing all the things, you playing sports. You think you're going in the NFL or some. Some of guys think they're going to NBA. We just think we can't miss. We think we're better than, because we're better than a lot of people in our neighborhood. We think we're the best in the world, you know, because that's all you can go by, your surroundings and your level of understanding. And so you just had these beliefs that, man, you living out your dream. You had in a perfect world. I wanted to go into the Air Force because my grandmother, she was one of the highest ranking civilians for Peace Corps who did a lot of work. And so we hung out at the Pentagon with her. We did a lot of her trips when she was sent on crusades across the country and ultimately out of the country. We didn't go out, but she always carried us with her on as many journeys as she could. And that again was paying the foundation for me to be who I am today.
So I guess let's shift now to how you ended up getting in trouble, because you're innocent, you and the fellas that
Yeah.
y'all was with. But
Yes,
share a
sir.
little bit about that.
Well, what happened is a person in our neighborhood that I knew, a friend of mine, his mother was murdered and killed in on 8th and H on the H Street quarter, what's known as the H Street quarter today. They alleged that she was attacked on 8th and H in front of the bank, broad daylight. Say that she was attacked by a group of men. They say a bunch of teenagers attacked her actually, um, and she was sodomized and beaten to death. So naturally, somebody hear that like, man, that don't make no sense. Why would they do that? You know, why would you attack? They say where the motive was robbery, but you know, being from the neighbor, you already know who don't have money. You know, this is a person from our neighborhood who's struggling like we're struggling. This is a person, you know. Now, none of us has been. We haven't been ever charged with anything like this before. So we just arbitrarily woke up one day and decided now we're gonna rob our friend's mother who don't have no money and attack her in broad daylight in an area and right there where we hang at, where we go at, where we socialize at. On any given day, there's approximately maybe 500 people going up and down this quarter. This is during the time before you got flash back to 1984. So you had to physically go down there to cash your check. There wasn't no electronic deposits. You had to physically go down to cash your check. When your check came in the mail, you had to physically go down there and get your stamp and do your own shopping. There wasn't no Uber Eats, wasn't nobody, Amazon wasn't delivering nothing. So you had to physically go down there. So on the October the first of the month is the busiest day for shopping, especially in a business district. Now we're talking about a business district, grocery stores, shoe stores, furniture stores, every type of store you can imagine. It's on there, liquor stores, everything. Two banks, a ton of vendors are out there selling their merchandise, and you convince them that this case happened during rush hour. Not to mention, this is before, back then, high school kids, we wasn't driving to school. We were catching the bus. We didn't have our cars, you know. We do that now for our kids now. But back then, our children, you was a high school student, you was most likely on the bus. So all these buses are right there, transfers. The number one transfer location from people going uptown, across town, other side of town, or downtown. You have to cross right there at that intersection at 8th and 8. And so you convince these people during rush hour that nobody saw this, or people who did see it were afraid of them. And so it's this gang of dudes hanging out there and they're attacking people and preying on them and robbing them. And so they created a theory. They say they received a tip that this group they call themselves the 8th and 8th Street gang was hanging out and they was dragging people in the alley, women in the alley, and beating them and robbing them. So that's what the police claim. They got a tip and said that. I don't believe it. To this day, it's something that they made up in their own mind for the simple reason. And the facts is, if you get a chance, you can check out the Netflix series. It's all featured in a Netflix series. It's called The Confession Tapes. Season 1, The Confession Tapes, episode 5. It's titled 8th and H.
Okay.
And you'll get a chance to see what the crime scene looked like. Now, the crime scene and any medical examiner, I get a case to first year forensic students. They're in high school, first year forensic students in high school. Now, we ain't take forensic when I was in high school, but that's what they're doing today.
Yeah.
And they nail it right away. Right away, they already can dissect from the crime scene, just watching, looking at it. So you can't tell me that the people that went to the crime scene, detectives, seasoned detective police officers, thought that this was the attack of a group of people. So in my belief is that you made it up. You did what you wanted to do. You sold that story because that story was sell. Now you had physical evidence. You had a person seen at the crime. Had a person, the same person was seen walking up and down that way. He's not from the neighborhood, but he just arbitrarily, he just came in, he just moved in that neighborhood. Someone had, a lady in the neighborhood had adopted him and he had just coming in from foster care into the neighborhood. Now he is attacking women. He's beating women. He's sodomizing women. This is his MO. But they say he's not a suspect. Even though he lives 20 feet, he lives 20 feet from where Mrs. Fuller's body was found, where the victim was murdered at. He was seen at the location where she was murdered at. And then when the police came on the scene, he was seen running from the police and they don't chase him. And then they say he's not a suspect, but these 17 other black young men and women are suspects. 17 people. First time ever in the history of America, 17 people were arrested for the murder of one person without it being a conspiracy.
How many people got found guilty for?
Ultimately, 8 people would be convicted of it in court. 2 would be acquitted.
Okay. So we're going to move forward a little bit. You're in court fighting technically for your life, literally.
Literally for our life.
Literally.
It is the most publicized case in the history of Washington, D.C., and it is viewed by most as the most heinous case. It is the one case where the prisoners and the guards wanted to see these dudes killed. They didn't even want to hold a trial. Just based off of what was put in the newspaper, they say these dudes should be dead now. One writer wrote these dudes are worse than the Son of Sam, Jack the Ripper, the Boston Strangler. I mean, the publicity was so lopsided and so ugly that you knew that these dudes had to be guilty. It had to be evidence against. So people wanted the whole court right then and there in the street. They didn't want no trial. None of the public, all these people, the police, no one wanted a trial. They thought these dudes were the worst dudes in the history of Washington, D.C., and said such.
The publicization of the media.
Yes, sir.
Still goes on today.
Yeah.
Of the black man, especially.
Absolutely.
They credited y'all as being the worst in history. I would like to say,
yes.
Especially
yes.
in DC.
Especially in DC, no
I would
question.
say not in DC because listen to what you said, Son of Sam. Your name is serial killer.
Yeah, you comparing these guys to serial killers.
Literally.
And a case in which one person, not to deminimize her life, Mrs. Fuller, but you're comparing this to the murder of multiple people over a period of time, this act. So that gives you an idea of what they thought about this case.
So you're sitting in court fighting for your life. What is the emotion, if you can remember vividly, the emotion, and what are you thinking sitting there? Because I like to get into the psychological thoughts of things.
At the thing is, for one, you know you're innocent, so you can't really fully understand people's psyche towards you. You
Mm-hmm.
don't understand the hate that's generated towards you. Uh, you know that the people who know you are there, they're supporting you, they're coming out, they're calling, they like, they're sending calls, they, man, nah, I don't believe this. I don't know about nobody else, but I know you. And I'm like, where the same lie that was told on me was told on those guys. It was told on this girl. It was the same lie. They used the same lie. And then in some cases, they recycled the lie. The lie went this way to get arrested this person. Then they took that person and had them to relie another way to get another arrest. That's how sickening it is. And people really aren't really paying attention to the case. And that's what's kind of frustrating. I'm not bitter about my ordeal because I survived my ordeal and it molded me and shaped me into the individual I am today. Which is not a bad person at all by any stretch of the imagination.
Wasn't a bad person then.
Wasn't a bad person then. And but you look back and my state of mind was that, man, I wasn't gonna get found guilty. You could not have told me because grow up Curry Mason, innocent people don't go to jail. That's the TV shows.
Yeah.
The Columbo and all that stuff. You think, oh, they get it right. That's TV. That ain't real life. That ain't real life. So you don't know real life until you're in that trenches. When you're in the trenches, then you know about the trenches. Until a person is in the trenches, they don't fully understand. They hear people talk about the trenches and everything. But what we were up against was something real evil and probably one of the worst mechanisms that were put in place to destroy a group of young men ever.
So we're gonna shift again. You done got your time. You're sitting in there with life sentence, correct?
Yes, sir.
No parole.
27 and a half years to life. Yeah. I had a parolable sentence because it was DC. It was actually a DC crime. Even though DC not a state, it was considered a state crime, but I was sent off into federal custody. And so all of us was actually shipped to federal custody all across the country, from everywhere from Wisconsin to Indiana to Kansas, Kentucky, Alabama, upstate New York, Texas. We were shipped all over. And then eventually we would remain getting transferred multiple occasions, just for nothing, for not for doing any wrongdoing, but because they could determine and they put you on the list that you pose a threat. Why? Because you're saying you're innocent. Why? Because you won't shut up. Why? Because you're trying to reach out to media outlets telling them your story. Hey, y'all didn't hear my story. You didn't hear the story. You heard what was perpetuated to you. And what we found out later on is that the prosecutor was best friends with the reporter who was writing the story. They were staying at each other's houses.
Dropping information.
Yeah, they giving falsified information. What she's giving them isn't even she's not even checking it out. She think it's credible because it's coming from her best friend, her partner, Jerry Gordon. And if you go back and check out the articles, Elsa Louise Walsh, she happened to be married to who? The chief and the editor of the Washington Post, Bob Witter, who broke the Watergate. So this was a setup from the get up. I be telling people that, but I don't know if they really paying attention. This was a setup from the get up. The fake tip to say that these men were pulling women into the alley, attacking them. Even if that was the case, this crime scene don't represent that. The crime scene don't represent a group attack. Them are the things that can't lie. The physical, scientific evidence in this case don't change. And I can give you another secret, bro, that the public don't know and are unaware of. The physical evidence, the hair samples that were taken from the victim's body that were available in 1985, they are not available right now. And they were in one person's custody, the police. The FBI followed the chain of command. They gave it back to the DC police.
And they got rid of it.
They say it was lost.
They got rid of it.
Yeah. It's convenient. So, they blamed it on a flood in a storage unit. They blamed it on a fire. They blamed it on a bunch of other things. But the bottom line is we know it ain't there and it ain't gonna be there.
All right. So you're in prison.
Yeah.
Then been found guilty.
Been found guilty
of a crime
that I did not commit.
So
that I did not commit.
Man, tell me what goes through the mind of a person, or what do you do? Because you got a lot of time. Life, I don't know. I mean, yes, you're still thinking, I'm going to fight this and figure out how to get out.
Yeah, I'm believe it or not, that is my state of mind.
Optimistic.
Yeah, I'm optimistic, and I'm really realistic that I'm gonna get out, because I knew that my determination to get out was greater than their hate to keep me in there.
Good God, come on now.
And what happened was a transformation took place. Now, see, I went from being mad and bitter and angry at the dudes, because dudes keep saying, "Oh man, they're gonna kill you, man. Turn back, don't go that day. They saying they're gonna kill you, man. The guards, they plotting on you, the dudes plotting on you, they're gonna do this to you." And I'm like, and so for a while you're mad about it, because you're like, man, they picking the police side over me. Man, I'm innocent, man. They believe the police. They say they hate the police, but now they believe the police. So those are the thoughts that's going through your mind. But what you ultimately decide is a transformation took place for me. I spent most of my time in solitary confinement. I mean, total lockdown, 23 hours a day.
Most of it?
Initially, most of it, yes. The first portion, when I was initially arrested, the first going to trial, waiting to go to trial and all that, I was in solitary confinement on special handling status. I came out 1 hour a day you had 1 hour to get your shower, your phone call, and your rec all in that 1 hour.
Was it out of anger or was it because of them?
Nah, it was because of them. It was the administration decision to put you on special housing. And so you're on lockdown. So then when I go to the prison, eventually I would go to federal institution. And so when I got there, I was always constantly up against different things. And me being the man, I'm gonna stand up. Like, hold up, I'm in here under some bad false pretense. But I'm still a man. That's the one thing you're not gonna get twisted. I'm a man. You better see a man over here when you come over here. You better be coming to see a man and notice you seeing a man. And so they locked me down. Out of my first 60 days, 42 days were spent on lockdown and in total lockdown. And dudes was like, man, this dude we got here, this young dude is crazy, man. He ain't going for nothing. He ain't scared of the police. And I think that they don't know that was more hurt and anger. I was more mad than they ever thought. They was mad at me about the crime. They had no idea how mad I was about being convicted of it. So that clash caused me to spend time in solitary confinement. And while in solitary confinement, although it's the worst thing you can do, no human contact, it was just me. I was in solitary confinement by myself, didn't even care. It was just me. Only thing I had was me and a book card out in front of me. So I used to periodically select the book out there, select the book off the book card. I just began to read everything. I read a book, Kaffa Boy, talking about the atrocities of South Africa. Changed my life, changed my perspective. When you learn the story, you start reading about apartheid and what was going on with Nelson Mandela, Steve Biko, and them. Now a new spirit is in you. Then
Because
now,
you get that
yeah,
fighter spirit.
yeah. The
It's a
angry
fighter.
spirit is gone. The anger is gone now. Now it's a fighting spirit. Now people don't know that the fighting spirit is 10 times worse than the angry spirit. Because the angry spirit, you could have tricked them. He gonna be a dummy. Now the fighting spirit, huh?
He's emotional.
He's emotional and he's
The
controlled.
fighter
He's
is mentally strategic.
strategic, and that's why you study Hannibal. You study Hannibal. He's not the white guy on the A team neither. Hannibal was from Cartilage, man. They still mad today at Hannibal to this day about Hannibal, and they use his tactics in all their guerrilla warfare that you see. You're gonna see strategic tactics used by Hannibal. But I read these books, and the more I read, the more I found out I love reading.
Mm.
And the more when you got a different spirit in you from reading, you become that what you read.
Come on now. Talk
You
to me.
start, once you really read, I ain't talking about like in high school, I read and I crammed information just to use for a test, just to go through school. But when you're in your comforts, when you're in solitary, when it's just you and you there, me, myself, and I, you read something, you digest it, you understand it, then you can't help but to regurgitate it in fruition. Your actions, you become that what you is. And the more I read, it seemed like that became my superpower, because now my brain is blowing up. Now they ain't have a helmet that could fit on my brain. After I kept on reading, because I'm reading everything. I ain't got no picks. I'm reading religion. I'm reading Greek mythology. I'm reading Timbuktu, modern day Timbuktu. I'm reading, you name it. I read J.A. Rogers, Superman the Man. I
One of my
can't get
favorite
enough.
books. One of my favorite
I,
books.
I can't get enough. And they don't know that from that day on, I say it's over with. And I'm down, and I'm reading the Law Journal. I got the Georgetown Law Journal. I'm reading it like it's a novel. I'm going back over it. I'm reading it like, oh man, this is my new assignment. And then I say to myself, I say, you know what, Chris, the only reason why you're not an astronaut is not because you don't have the ability to learn, it's because the curriculum wasn't given to you. If you can retain a Marvin Gaye song, if you can retain one of these songs of Luther Vandross, you got the ability to learn anything.
Come on.
And so I said, oh no, man, it's over with. I just kept shaking my head when I got out. Now you're not gonna have a perception of me. I'm gonna give you the perception of who I am and what I am. And before you know it, people didn't want to play basketball with me, didn't want to go to church, didn't want to go to temple with me, didn't want to go to mosque, didn't want to go nowhere where I was. The cafeteria, they get up from the table. When I got through, they ain't want to play unless they could play on my team. They ain't want to play softball unless, man, I'm playing for him, man, I'm playing with you, man. I was like, man, I got too many people now. That's the transformation that I made, but that transformation takes place inside.
Come on, never outside.
Never outside. It's not an outward show. That's why they tell you the revolution will not be televised. It's man. It's an internalizing, man, that takes place. That's why they think that they always miss their mark when they always try to attack and kill a Messiah or a messenger. You always fail because you have no idea what you're looking for.
You don't know that this stuff starts from within. And to be honest, most of us uh, because God allowed us to sit down, what we was able to do
Absolutely.
was start thinking.
And that's what our elders try to get us to do. My grandmother used to always say, "Boy, sit still," because if you still, then you can
Mhm.
hear.
Good
Yeah, you
stuff.
can hear the revelation, you can hear your calling, but you have to be still.
Hmm.
And so when you ask me about not being bitter, not being, I believe God put me in a place where He could steal me long enough
Because
to get
otherwise,
my angry vibe.
you'd
Yeah,
have been mad too
yeah,
early. You'd have been angry.
yeah. I've been angry, and so, and that's why you don't give a baby. That's why you don't give a baby steak. You give him applesauce until he can develop the ability to chew it and digest it and everything. And so it's an old adage to say, when the student is ready, the teacher will
The
appear.
teacher will
So
appear.
all those things that my grandmother, my great grandmother, that older people used to tell me, all start coming into play now. Now they start coming into fruition. Now you're understanding the messages that you got from that old man that was a drunk on the corner that kept telling you what to do and telling you what not to do. Now you understood what he was saying. And so, man, I just start putting it all together, and believe me, they became scared of me in the federal system.
How
Not from a
long?
physical, not from a
No.
physical standpoint, but yes, yes, because I was breaking barriers
How
before they
long?
created a class. Then that's a curriculum in the Bureau of Prison, breaking barriers. But I was doing it already. You know, I'm crossing the lines. I'm over here with the Mexican mafia. I'm over here with the ABs. I'm over here talking to the dudes over here. I'm talking to the East Coast, the West Coast, uh, if you ever go to out west, Northern California, Southern California, do not mess with each other at all for no reason. Man, look, man, we ain't doing it. Man, I got homies up. I got homies in Frisco. I got homies down there in LA. I got homies in Sac. I got homies in Long Beach. I got homies in Palm Springs. I got homies down in Miami. I got homies in Texas. Man, I got homies back here in New York. I got homies, man, wherever you go at, man. I'm talking about, man, I can pick up the phone right now. Dudes, the problem I be having, really my real problem that I have when I travel is dudes get mad because I'm in a town or I'm in a city and I
And
don't
you
reach
don't
out
hit them out.
because I don't be having enough time. I'm only here for a couple of days. I already pick and choose. Okay, I saw him last time. I'm gonna call him and all that. And then and then they'll find I was there and they, man, come on, man, how you doing? And I'm like, man, Slim, I didn't have enough time, man. I'm coming back though. And those are the things because of the relationships that was built over the course a
So
decade, man.
when did you evolve, or when do you think that if you could put a time limit, how much
A-
time had it passed
After the
by before?
book, after that book, once I read the book, that was it. All bets was off. Everything and anything I could get, we were gonna get. Man, I went to college. We got the best professors in the country teaching us in prison. And so now what we are learning is that, and other guys are learning is that, man, you're gonna make more money doing the right thing with your brains than what you're gonna ever do if you do the opposite.
So you actually got a degree while you was in?
I'm several credits short of a double of my business management and business administration degree. And the
Mm.
only reason why I'm short of it is because they stopped paying for it and wanted me to pay for it and say they're gonna reimburse me. They took the Pell Grants from us. I swear to God,
They
they
didn't bring
took
it
the
back
Pell.
to I think it was like 2017 because
And, and yeah, and they brought it back in a limited basis, not like it
yes,
was. Because
yes.
see, we used to be competing with each other to make the dean's list. I'm talking about
Mm.
dudes that's convicted of some murder, some serious ugly murder. We competing to make the dean's list. We trying to show Congress that a person with a degree is less likely to come, is 70 times less likely to come back to prison than a person without. So now that tell you education is the key to fixing this whole thing. You
As
want to fix
Malcolm X said,
recidivism? Man, you're gonna make more money on it than you ever gonna make out there on the corner, man, ducking and dodging, man.
because you might go to jail and do time and have to spend your time making pennies in prison, where
Absolutely.
outside you're making dollars.
Like I did. Me and my brother, man, we worked as quality controls. That's a QA inspector. Some people call it QC inspector. They the same thing, quality assurance and quality control. And what the work I was doing, man, is $100,000 each. I'm teaching the dudes that's making 100,000 what they doing wrong with their stuff, and I'm making 42 cents an hour, and I'm teaching them. And me and my brother, we build everything, man. I'm telling you, man, in the federal, we making the helmets that they using for the war. We making the parachutes. We making the canteens. We doing their whole uniform. I worked on the Marines' perfect shirt. I did that, man, and helped them perfect all the sizes. They'll never give me credit, and I don't care because I don't need the credit, because what they did was help us go to another plateau and show what we could do. And before you know it, now I'm making tailor-made clothes for the men in prison in Terry Hut, maximum security prison where the death row at. I'm making clothes over there. I'm telling them, man, scrap all that, man. We get rid of all that. I'm rejecting all of it because I'm the inspector. So I'm saying that it can't pass because the patterns are wrong. We scrapped all the patterns, made them send the people down here for that cause. We showed them what's wrong, what they doing wrong with it. We making all new patterns. Don't worry about it. And dude say, man, Turner Bay, man, Chris, man, these pants fit me better than pants I've spent thousands of dollars on the street, man. These are the best because we do it. We knew how to measure things to fit over the contour of your body, and the things that certain curve places we use a string. And then we measure it on the ruler, but we use a string because it can curve like you wanted to curve. And that was the simple stuff we did, man. While in maximum security prison, the revamp, their clothing line, the furniture line. We made chairs for the judges, the sentencing people. We made the chairs that they sitting in, the desk down at DOJ. I was responsible for creating the thing, and I had to take Janet Reno's signature and put it on all the DOD books that they print out, the Department of Defense. I printed their books that they used with Janet Reno's name on it. I'm the one that did all that and had to take her signature and place it on signed documentations that's being printed. That's what prisoners are doing in the federal system, unbeknownst to the public. That's what we
not even getting paid for it.
And not even getting paid. And the most we getting is 88 cents an hour or something.
So we're gonna fast forward. So I'm hearing a lot of transition, a lot of transformation here. When did you find out that you was going home?
The parole board, I actually didn't think, I thought I was going home. I always knew I was going home, but I didn't know if I was going to go home on parole because they had a provision. If you don't admit guilt, you can't be released. So I'm not going to admit guilt. I didn't admit guilt then. I could have admitted, I could have lied and say I was guilty and took 2 years and been home in 87. I could have been home in 87, 88. If I'd have lied and say I did, they offered these dudes pleas to 2. They offered me a plea deal to 2 years. They offered all the guys a total plea. Everybody could plead guilty to 6 years. Everybody on the case. Instead, these dudes did 258 years. And so that right there should have been a wake-up flag for one. That should have been a wake-up flag, but that's a whole nother story. But to get back to when I found out I was going home, I went to the parole board. I told my lawyer, I had a team of lawyers through the Mid-Atlantic Innocence Project. At that time, it was Arnold and Porter, and they were working with. They were working with me on the parole package, and I told them, man, you know what? They're not going to see me under the guidelines. They're supposed to see me under the grandfather guidelines, the 1972 guidelines. I say under those guidelines, they think I'm a zero and they think automatic. But what they did was they created a new set of guidelines that you could argue actual innocence in. I say, we're going to argue actual innocence. And so we put it all together. They helped me. We put together a whole package. my lawyers, my whole team, and myself, and we put together a package telling the parole board, hey, we will not be admit no guilt. We have remorse for the victim, the victim's family, as well as my family and my community. Everybody was affected. Everybody became victims in this particular case. And we have remorse for all the victims involved, but we are not guilty of this case, and we're not going to be admitting guilt. And so we broke it all down, and they went back over all my education achievements, and they couldn't believe that how do a person have this many hours of education achievement? And the dude says unheard of. So what they did was they got 30 days to give you a notice of action back. Then they get additional 15 days. So they got a total of 45 days to investigate to give you what's called a notice of action back, to say that they're going to let you out on parole, or they're going to deny your parole, or they're going to do whatever they're going to do. And so we in Atwater, California, maximum security prison dudes like, man, Turner Bay ain't going home on that case, man. Why he keep on telling them people, man, the parole board got to bring a decision back? Man, he got the worst case ever. Man, I got a better chance of getting parole than I just caught him. Turner Bay, man, they ain't letting that dude out on that case. And so the dudes I heard the dudes arguing. They don't know I'm in there, but I'm in there, they arguing. He say, nah, I was up there, man. I seen it, man. Man, he messed up the whole hearing sessions, man. He's had them people hostage in there for 4 hours. He wouldn't let them go, man. He had every detail. Man, he told them what the laws was and what their criteria was. Man, I'm telling you, man, I saw it. All of us was up there. We saw, man, we was mad that they ain't let us go first and let him go last. You know he's going to hold the people hostage. And I held them hostage in there, and I still argued with them. And they gave me a presumptive release date, but I told them that was wrong. That was wrong. It should have been earlier, because they wasn't giving me education achievement. See, like, because we was in the federal system, because I was in the federal system and wasn't in DC's state system, which was Lawton, I didn't receive the good time credit that everybody else was receiving. So based off all my educational achievements, I supposed to get superior program. All that should both come down, and you supposed to knock me all the way down and push my date sooner than what you did. And the dude kept on like, man, listen, you put on a compelling argument I ain't never seen before, but you're not going to change my mind, man. Man, hey, I gave you a date, man. You're not changing my mind no more. I say, man, okay, well, I'll see you then. We're gonna appeal this. I was prepared to appeal their decision. The date was a presumptive release date was the next year, September. I saw him in July, so they gave me a September date instead of a December date. I said, man, you supposed to give me this December date now, and they supposed to do my paperwork now and get me out of here halfway house. So they did all this stuff, went all the way back. So the prison was on lockdown for attempted murder, assault, you know, all the stuff that go on in the pens. Mm-hmm. And they slid a paper under my door telling me that I've been released. So
Stop right there, real quick. Stop right there. What did you feel? Because I want to know psychologically what's running through your mind.
I'm in disbelief, bro. I'm in total disbelief. I'm like, man, who is gonna believe this? Because I can't even tell nobody we locked down. It's just me. It's me by myself. I can't even talk through the window. I can't talk through the door. I can't tell nobody.
You ain't in the hole. You ain't in the hole or nothing.
Nah, but we on lockdown status because, you know, attempted murder.
Something just popped off, yeah.
Something popped off, so they locking the prison down. Even though I'm in an honor unit, I made them put me in the honor unit. They say, nah, they don't put no dudes from DC in the honor unit, man. Ain't nobody never been over there. I say, they ain't never had nobody foul on them like I'm fouling on them. And man, if it's they ain't gonna change. They ain't gonna make no separate criteria. What you mean? So I made them put me over there in this honor unit. And I was in the honor unit, but I was the only one over there from DC in the honor unit. I had a lot of good men over there that I messed with from California and Alabama, everywhere. But I ain't had nobody that I could really share the news with, and then I wasn't going to. So when the case manager came around, I said, man, come here, man. Look at this. He snatched the paper and say, "Oh my God, I ain't even get this yet." He ran. He said, "Man, I gotta go make copies. I gotta go make copies and get me gone." So that's what they do. He takes it, run off, come back. The guard come to my door now. He opened my door, popped my door like, "Nah, man." He said, come on, Turner. Come on out of here, Turner. Let me out. And I'm out by myself. Everybody else still locked down. He like, so everybody looking at me like, looking at their door like, what's going on, man? They probably think they taking me again because normally that's what happened during the lockdown like that procedure. They normally take me and transfer me somewhere because I got transferred on 16 different occasions. That's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother story. But I was like, okay, that's cool. They let me out. So I'm telling the man, I said, man, they told me I got parole. Everybody cheering, everybody hollering, everybody like, man, what? And, you know, people ain't thinking it's real. And what I'm doing is I'm telling everybody, man, I don't know how real it is, but, man, I'm happy. Man, I say I'm happy. We're going to see what they do. Hold on one second. I was just telling them how happy I was and that, man, I'm going to see what happened. And so they come back and he say, man, I already started the process. I sent your paperwork out. Man, we try to get you to the halfway house now immediately. This is in April. So I'm like, okay. And they keep on coming back. And we off lockdown now. I'm telling the dudes now. I said, man, they recommend me for parole. And everybody like, what? For real? I said, yeah, man, they recommended me, but they saw that I wasn't overly excited. Like they thought I was supposed to be. My excitement already took place already inside, and I'm already good. I shot a copy of it to my mother, and I say, okay, my brother and everything. I say, nah, they know it's official, but we're gonna see. I'm still
because you're the first one.
Yeah, I'm the first one. So I'm real cautious and I'm suspicious of it. So 2 months passed, nothing. A month come back now, and then they say, well, they denied you halfway house in DC. I'm gonna put you in for Baltimore. Baltimore denied me. A month later, they put me in and say, man, we're gonna try Delaware. So they denied me too. So I'm like, okay. So now the warden and them is on, and this man has been gone out of society too long. He needs halfway house.
The transition, yeah.
Yeah, the transition. So I ain't sweating it. I'm not worried about it. I'm like, wherever they want me to do, I can do it.
I'm about to be free.
Yeah, I'm about to be free. So it didn't matter. So the date come for me to go. I get up that morning like ain't nothing. Everybody hollering at me like, man, you gone? I'm like, man, this is I'm gone. Dude still don't believe I'm going because I ain't overreacting. I ain't doing it. But I didn't, you gave your stuff away. I don't have nothing. I'm walking out with what I got on. I'd already mailed my stuff out. So I'm walking up front. I'm still suspicious of them now. So when I get up front, they take me in the back and try to debrief me like I'm coming back from Vietnam or I'm coming back from Iraq. Man, when you get out there, do this. Man, when you get this, these are police telling me these are police. These are guards telling me, man, when you go, this don't mean that. When somebody bump into you in the line, don't get excited, man. Don't if you get bumped when you're getting on the trains or on the bus, man, just be cautious, man. They don't mean no harm. They just in a rush. And they trying to give me all the stories and they trying to debrief me and take me through it. And, and then finally, they say you're right here. And then they had a prisoner from the camp drive me downtown to drive me from Atwater prison to Modesto bus station for the Greyhound station.
So quickly, what did you feel? Because did the feeling ever kick in?
A new feeling kicked in when I got at the bus station. That was that was a surreal feeling. Like no walls, no window, because see, when you're in maximum security prison, you only see trees in the sky. You don't even see trees. You be glad to see trees. There's no trees in prison. People don't know or understand that. When you're in maximum security, they don't have trees.
All you see is the gray wall.
Yeah, all you see is the gray wall and the sky. That's all you get to see, the sky. And so now to see some trees, some people, some cars going past, this is like, man, this is like feeling real. You get to see these cars now, and you're seeing these cars, and you feeling like now you just stepped out of the Flintstone age into the Jetson age, and you don't know if a car gonna come flying past you or not, literally flying, you lost, man. I'm so happy that I can't even be mad. So I'm so happy I don't even have the strength to be mad about nothing. Nothing could go wrong that day. Even though a lot of things did go wrong, and we got to say that story, that journey, you got to record the journey, because that's a whole episode, man. I went through a whole episode with the journey coming back, but none of that mattered because I was free. And so been free ever since.
And this was 2000 what?
2010.
So
September the 9th, 2010.
Okay, and what I need from you now, tell me all of the stuff that you've done since then. Because I want people, I'm talking about achievement. I want people to understand the greatness of what we become when we come home. It ain't because it ain't the stuff that happened. It's what we choose to do with it.
And that's what I tell people. It don't count on that side. It only counts on this side.
It counts all that on that side. It counted on that side because you got built up. Men got to be built up by seeing you. But I agree with you in totality. But I was telling them that that's like being in practice. Mm-hmm. When you get out here, this is the game. You're in the game. It's like now you ain't practice against Tyreek here. Now it's real, bro. It's full speed. And so I got released, man. I got a chance to do some amazing things, man. Meet some amazing people. Got to partner up with the Mid-Atlantic Innocence Project. I get to partner up with the Greater Washington Urban League. I actually won a Community Impact Award that I received with the Governor Westmore from Maryland. I mean, powerful day, man. Pictures with the brother, man. A powerful brother with a smile that matches his powerfulness and his realness. Because this, you hear a lot about the things, and you get around a lot of politicians, and it be artificial and all. But this brother is really made of substance, and I was honored beyond imagination that I'm receiving an award and people on stage, and I'm following behind. Excuse me. I'm taking the stage behind him. I'm baffled. He telling me, man, that suit you got on, man, that jacket, that's a bad jump, man. You the best dressed in here. The governor telling me I'm the best dressed. So, I got a chance to do a blog with Muhammad Ali for the Iran hikers. Man, who gets a chance to do that? I had a chance to talk to Tupac's mom on a regular basis. I had a chance to work with Dr. Matula Shakur. Powerful brother. Sunni Assad Shakur's co-defendants. Them brothers, they're home now. Unfortunately, Dr. Matula came home and passed and went on. Sunni Assad is home. And man, I got a chance to be with some real brothers that I read about. Their stories inspired me to do something. And then now you hearing this, and they talk about I'm inspiring them. To hear him tell me that I'm an inspiration to them because they watch me fight and go to the law library. They watch me fight for my freedom. They watch me go up against insurmountable odds. Everybody always told me, even the guys on the case, Cliff, tell me, man, what you, Chrissy, they ain't letting us out. Why you keep going to law library? Man, they ain't letting us go home. Man, we going up here to play basketball. I said, y'all go ahead and play basketball. I'm going to the law library, man. And then when they have an altercation about the basketball court, they take the basketballs, they close the gym, or they all want me to go up
there and talk to the warden. I don't want to talk to the warden about no basketballs. I ain't want to talk. They cut the TVs off because I learned the policy program statements. I'm like, y'all don't understand. All that's a granted privilege. What ain't a granted privilege is that law library access to the courts, man. I need to know. So they see me coming down the hall. I already know Turner. We getting ready to make reservations for the law library now. That's all I want to know. I don't care about none of this that you got going on because it ain't where it's at. You know, I did a bunch of it. I participated in a bunch of it. But my first and foremost, I'm going to the law library. All that's secondary. Everything is secondary to the library. Yeah. And dudes used to say, let me guess, man, you found something. You're going home this year. You going home. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because I found a bunch of issues that under normal circumstances, these are dead banging with. These are people going home off of these issues. People don't even know that we wasn't present in all things of our trial, which is a violation of your constitutional right. That's an easy dead bang winner. That the lawyer waived my presence on several occasions to be present in my courtroom, in my trial. You can't do that without my permission. And so those under normal circumstances, but I didn't understand because you know how law is. Law is really set up like this. It's an ambiguous language by design so they can always move the finish line on you. When you get to they can always move the finish line, and you think you're running that way where the finish line was moved back down there. So you never can catch up with them, and it's by design that way. Let me tell you, ambiguous language. People say, "Oh no, well, law has more than one meaning." No, it has multiple meanings, not two meanings. It has multiple meanings, and so when you understand that, go ahead, brother.
So we're gonna wrap this one up. We are gonna have.
I was gonna say, I gotta wrap it up because I gotta run.
But
I gotta run. I got another appointment.
Give me a word of wisdom for anybody who's listening to this, or who old, young, prison, not in prison. Give me something for them to feed their spirit.
Man, believe in yourself. Refuse to lose. Believe in yourself. When nobody else believe in you, you believe in you. When your mother don't come through, when your father don't come through, when your sister don't fulfill the promise that they might have told you, believe in yourself. Fulfill you. You got to do it. At the end of the day, don't nobody owe you nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. You owe it to yourself to succeed and be the best version of you that you could possibly ever be.
Those are my words. I always say this.
Yes,
I love you, Mr. Turner.
I love you, brother. Hey, man, brother, I love you, Carlos.
Hey, brother.
Absolutely, man. I'm honored, brother.
It's an honor for me. So my name is Carlos Walker. This is Forward Progress, and this is Mr. Chris Turner. Thank you for joining. I want you to know that I appreciate all that you have done, all that you chose to become, what you are still becoming.
Thank you.
The work that you're doing, because it's important. You're helping free and help men that coming out of prison and people who are innocent in prison.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Peace and blessings.